Well, listen, Liverpool were in the title race, and I think Liverpool were top of the league. I think we're probably 6 or 7 games to go. There's still a long way to go to see if Liverpool are in that position. So I wouldn't say the better, I'd say the different. They're certainly better defensively when you look at the numbers sort of, this season. I think Liverpool came here twice last year, once in the FA Cup. Won here, I think, 2-0, but got absolutely battered in the first half. Arsenal should have won the game. Arsenal beat them, I think, in the league 3-1. So, created a lot of chances. That wasn't the sort of the game that we watched today. That's probably something a little bit around Arsenal where they're going, and we maybe get to that shortly. But from Liverpool's point of view, the big change this season is defensively. They look a solid unit. Well, I think this season they've been the best defensively in the Premier League, and that's a big difference from what we saw last season.
Do you think being better defensively, Roy, is more likely to take you to the big prizes?
Yeah, of course. Well, you have to defend properly, and with people like Salah, you've always got a chance of scoring goals. And there's definitely a calmness to Liverpool, even. And obviously that comes from the manager. He speaks very well. And even when they were 2-1 down today, they didn't seem to panic. Obviously a lot of belief, and that would come from confidence of winning football matches. I know we'll argue all day about, obviously, have they been really tested yet, but they've turned up. They've had the one really big disappointment, I suppose, the Forest game, when they got beaten at home, which we know can happen if you're not at your best. But generally speaking, they look a strong, efficient team. You got world-class players like Salah, you have a chance of winning football matches. And remember, they were missing their goalkeeper. Keller's done well in the last month or two, so they've had 1 or 2 setbacks as well with injuries themselves. We've obviously been discussing Arsenal for last week about all their problems, but Arsenal had 1 or 2 players missing. I mean, Liverpool had 1 or 2 players missing, but they've turned up today, and again, the manager said that a couple of weeks ago, they keep turning up. That gives you a chance of winning football matches.
I think Alex Ferguson always says you can see the personality of a manager in his team. So we saw that for 7 years with Klopp. Klopp was just this big, huge personality, energetic, and that was the team. When you see Arne Slot interviewed, it's just calm, reserved, doesn't get sort of too carried away, whether you're winning or losing. And as Roy just said, that you see it on the pitch. It's a lot more controlled, Liverpool, so it's not end-to-end. They're not having to deal with counter-attacks as much. And that's why they're better defensively. I don't think it's necessarily that he's a defensive manager or he's brought in better... Are you all right there?
Sorry, yeah.
I don't turn it on
I just wanted to ask yourself, actually, do you feel like they miss that Klopp intensity at times when they really want to go for the game? Because, like I was saying, at times they just lack that intensity. Do you think, like you say, with the calmness of Klopp?
Every manager has to balance between the defence and attack. So that intensity that we're talking about, Jurgen Klopp and Tim, might maybe create more chances and lift the crowd more at Anfield. But what you lose is maybe going the other way. This is maybe not as much going the other way, pressing really high, winning the ball back, lifting the crowd, all the big atmosphere. But you're better defensively. That's what it's about trying to get the balance.
Do you think, Theo, that dressing rooms respond in a different way to those different kind of emotive managers, whether it is the sort of the tub thumping of Jurgen Klopp or the quiet calmness of Arne Slot?
Yeah, I've got to agree. The teams are a reflection of managers at times, and we're seeing a different side of Mikel Arteta at this moment in time, from an Arsenal perspective, where want to keep hold of what we've got and be defensive minded, and I'm just worried that we're going to lose that free-flowing sort of football that Arsenal have known for doing from the Arsene Wenger eras. And when I was playing as well, don't go away from what you're good at, and what Arsenal are good at times is dominating higher up the field, and I just don't want them to get into habits of holding on to things when they can put teams to the sword, particularly when the likes of Liverpool are challenging, because they are definitely here to stay.
I don't think they're getting into bad habits. I think that's an instruction for the manager. This has been going on now, I would say, for about 12 months. What?
We're going to come to that in a minute.
Come on.
Because I want to hear from Mikel Arteta, having been tested for the first time today.
Hello, Mikel.
Hi.
Having gone ahead twice, do you feel disappointed, frustrated, good performance overall?
Yes, very proud of the team, especially with the situation that we are going through at the moment, and probably that we could not imagine. But overall, I think, especially the first half, it was a total domination. I think we were really, really good, really sharp, really efficient, really determined, and the result probably should have been bigger. And then, without conceding nothing, basically, we gave 2 goals away, which is the disappointing part, and the fact that we could not see the game off, especially looking at ourselves for 2 things that we didn't do particularly well, and obviously about other aspects.
Could you snatch one at the end? Did you think that was unfairly ruled out?
Sorry?
Could you snatch one at the end? Did you think that was unfairly ruled out?
I prefer not to comment.
Okay, very Simon.
Mikel, how big an impact did the changes in the defence make? Obviously on that left side, you were Miles. How an impact that ended the game?
I don't know. It's what it is, Obviously, we had 5 injuries in the back line. we have to adapt to it, and we'll continue to adapt. You know, it's the situation that we have. Support them, praise the players because the courage that they played today again was unbelievable, and keep going.
Sammy, for you, Kieran, given the circumstances of the injuries and the changes to the back line, how do you view the point? Is it too dropped in your eyes?
Yeah, very disappointed. I'm very disappointed that we haven't won the game today because I think we were better, but especially because in two things that we had to do a bit better, we didn't, and some other stuff, obviously.
Sam, please come.
Mikel, I don't think he's ever missed 2 Premier League games in a row in his entire Arsenal career due to injury. How much does that tell you about his consistency, but the fact that Jurgen coming back as well, that your players fought really hard to get back for a game like this?
Yeah, it tells his consistency, the fact that he's very young as well, and he's been very lucky with injuries. Hopefully continues to be there. But yeah, after a few weeks off, the way he played, competed, it was exceptional. I think we had some big individual performances today, like the team.
Jordan, for Sam?
Just on Jurgen going off, do you think, we asked yesterday about taking risks with players, was he one that took a risk and has that backfired a bit in coming off?
Well, I think we've done everything that we possibly could to accelerate that process, and he was so willing. The team, the medical staff has done an amazing work, and we gave ourselves the chance to compete. I don't know the extent of the injury, if there is one, the same with Big Gabby, but yeah, continue to go.
And just Virgil van Dijk was involved in an early incident with Kai Havertz, which I'm not sure if VAR looked at it. Did you see it? Did you have a view?
I haven't seen the replay now.
Sam, take off.
What was the issue with Big Gabby?
I don't know, but he could not run. So that's why he said it straight away. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the knee joint or the ankle. They are assessing him right now. So.
Ed, Guardian?
Hi.
Just wondering if you had any other issues with some of the referees' decisions today. There was a penalty essentially in the first half. What did you think?
Prefer not to comment.
Kaya,
Sorry.
Amy, Athletic?
Hi, Mikel. You just said that the situation you're going through, like you couldn't imagine. Do you feel a bit like nothing's going for you?
No. This is football, circumstances that we have to, they're going to make us better, and they are making us better. So if we are able to be where we are and competing in the manner that we do, and I see the team, and I had no doubts 3 days before, I think I told you, we're going to be flying on Sunday. And we started flying, and we were the better team by far. But yeah, we needed to grab the points today to make a reflection on where we are and where we want to be. We couldn't do it, but for sure we are there.
Can I also ask if you feel that maybe you're running a bit out of puff in the second half, that playing so many games with 10 men, it kind of catches up on you a bit, maybe?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm more disappointed and frustrated about one thing that we didn't do, that we had to do in the second half, but on the physical part, we look at all the stats. The stats are not dropping. We had better stats in second half in many games, especially individually. Some positive, like Mikel, for example, hasn't played 90 minutes for, 5 months probably, since the Euros or whatever. So a lot of positive things to take and carry on going.
Okay, last 2 now. James, ESPN.
Mikel, it's 5 points now to City. It's only 9 games in.
Yeah.
How big is that gap at the moment?
Well, you don't want to be in that position. You want to be 5 points ahead, but this is where we are. And again, I think the team it's alive. The team wants it. I feel it every single day. The players that cannot play, they're upset that they are not playing. The ones that they get injured, the ones that they are there, and they're in a good moment. So things will turn up, and we're gonna in a better place. But we are certainly there.
Okay, finally we'll go to James from CBS.
I know you don't want to comment too much on the incident, the last minute. Have you been told what?
I mean, he talks about courage there, Mikel, and yeah, I totally agree. The fact that they need to start playing with that sort of freedom, that courage. But I wouldn't be too disheartened right now. They've played a lot of these teams right now, particularly away from home, that are challenging or spoken about challenging
City,
for the title.
Villa and Spurs already.
There we go. So big teams already in a difficult moment with a lot of players missing. Today, yes, they had some players missing, but they still had a very strong team. And I think, like he said, he's just disappointed that they just want a little bit more. But look, I wouldn't be wary right now. They're sitting quite happily in third. And it's one of those where it's all positive, I feel, with obviously the players coming back. That's always good signs, Mikaya. And that's what Arsenal are about right now.
Could you actually spin this, Roy? Yes, there have been problems keeping 11 players on the field. 3 times that's happened. 3 times they dropped points before this afternoon. Could you spin it as a positive that given the stature of some of the players they're missing, like Ødegaard, their most creative player, to be where they are through this period is actually a positive.
Yeah, there is positives. There's certainly, they're not going to panic. They'll be disappointed with some of the results, and obviously that was self-inflicted with some of the sending-offs, etc. But I'm still looking at some of their performances and the positions they've got themselves in, and that was today. So whatever circumstances, they end up 2-1 up at home to Liverpool, and Liverpool didn't look at their very, very best. There was an element of calmness to Liverpool, I suppose. So I'm looking at Arsenal, a bit like when to City recently, and I'm not saying these games are easy, far from it. But it's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be easy to win big titles. But I still look at this mentality of this Arsenal group today, when you're watching them live, and they're 2-1 up, and whatever the circumstances, injuries, can you go on and not take silly gambles? But you're the home team, take the initiative. And I always feel with this Arsenal, particularly today, when we're 2-1 up, we'd step back. And I really worry for the Arsenal, forget about the players, the medical staff. Because every time an Arsenal player's tackled, they're going down, they're rolling around, they're time wasting. And they're trying to kill the game, I get it about that, but you're the home team, you're 2-1 up, use the initiative, use the fans behind you, because the fans were doing their best to get them over the line today. And it's as if, I just worry about that belief and that mentality where you're going, do they really have that belief and conviction that they're a top team and they can really challenge Man City? I still don't see it. I think they've made great progress, and it seems really, I suppose, critical, but you have to look at it when you compare them to Man City, where Man City have got to the last few years.
But could they actually look back at the end of the season, at this period, and say, this is what took us to the title, because of the way we managed to navigate a difficult time in the season?
Of course they can, and that remains to be seen. But I think the interesting thing when you were watching Arsenal, and it's not just this season, I've been thinking about this for a long time now, probably going back to this fixture last season, I think it was end of January, early February. And because Mikel Arteta worked with Pep Guardiola, we're almost thinking this is a Pep Guardiola disciple. And if you look at the best, probably the two most successful managers, let's say, the last 10, 15 years, you've got Pep Guardiola here, a certain style of football, and you've got Jose Mourinho, almost equally as successful at the other end. Mikel Arteta is slowly morphing into a Jose Mourinho type of manager, and no one really thought that would happen. And I just think it's really interesting how they've got there. So you see today, 2-1 up, pressing Liverpool, on top of Liverpool, playing really well. They retreat second half. Now, I know they had a couple of injuries at the back, but they've still got the midfield players playing, they've still got some attacking players playing, who you think, can you get on the ball? Can you go forward and try and sort of maybe take the sting out of the pressure you're under? So there's a...
So you think that instinct, Jamie, is protecting what you have
that's
rather
coming from the manager,
trying to win it?
It happens too often now. We see it with 10 men. I get what happened at City. I thought what they did at City was brilliant. I commentate on the game, enjoyed watching it. But what they did here against Brighton, what they were doing against Bournemouth last week, the top teams I've seen before down with 10 men, I go back to my own experience as well, but yeah, you're under pressure, but you relieve it, you keep the ball a bit more, you're still a threat going forward. And it feels very, when they were down to 10 men, like what Jose was like in the new camp with Inter Milan. And again, this is not a criticism, this is an observation of where Arsenal are as a team, and it's going back almost 12 months. And maybe it's the fact that Mikel Arteta looks at his attacking players and thinks, we're not as good as Man City, and they're not. We've got to win the league by being the best team defensively, and that's what they were last season. And I think possibly they still are right now. They just lost goals because they've been down to 10 men in certain games. But this idea that Arsenal play great football, he's a Pep Guardiola man. He's not. You see that, as Roy said, with players going down. The secrecy before the game about who was fit, who was not fit. It's all out of the Jose Mourinho playbook.
Does it matter the style that you use, Theo? If you are going to go and win a title, does style matter in terms of delivering trophies, the biggest trophies, ending this long wait for a Premier League title?
I mean, and that's you hit the nail on the head there. The long wait, the Arsenal fans that have waited for something, and if they're going to win it in the Jose Mourinho way, he was very successful. I think they will take that. I really genuinely think they will. But like I say, don't shy away from what you're good at as well. But of course, it's all about the trophies in the end of it. You'll be remembered for that. Jose Mourinho is obviously saying very successful, winning in a certain way of style. Why could you not do both? I think they can do both. They showed it in the first half and the second half at times. It's just, I feel like right now, Arsenal are going through a sticky patch, but still getting results. Liverpool, we're talking about them challenging, and it's all sort of roses with Slot right now. But they didn't win here today. They still managed to get a result, yeah, against a depleted Arsenal team towards the back of the end of the game. So for me, I still feel like it's a positive sort of outlet for Arsenal. Right?
But when you're trying to win the title from Man City, though, it's talking about styles, and I've played for managers, and I think all the great managers are gamblers. They do go and want to win games, and they'll sacrifice losing the odd game. But I'm seeing with this Arsenal group, there's still the element of even everyone sitting there going, no, take like the draw today. Instead of sitting there going, we were 2-1 up. And then when they got it back 2-2, we should have try and get the momentum back in the game and try and win the game. There's an element of, well, put it this way, too many draws won't win you any title.
Do you think
you're comparing them to you're comparing to a brilliant Man City team?
Yeah, but do you think they can sacrifice playing against a Liverpool team? And maybe you can sacrifice playing against a Brighton. Obviously, they're down to 10 men, but a Liverpool team who are expected to be there at the end of the season. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not being critical of it. I'm just saying this idea that he's all of like Pep Guardiola. He's not, because we have seen, Roy's right, you think of sort of Pep Guardiola right now, you think of Jurgen Klopp, you think of Sir Alex Ferguson, but Jose Mourinho won a title. Claudio Ranieri won a title by being tough to beat. So it's not a criticism, it's just this is what they are as a team. Let's not kid ourselves that this is the most exciting team that we've ever seen in our lives. This is a team who want to keep clean sheets, back themselves to keep clean sheets, score from set pieces. I mean, they're one of the top teams who actually see go long a lot. And again, I'm not against that. It's refreshing that not every team plays the same way. But when I'm watching Arsenal at times, Ray, he's not scared to just go long and not take any chances around the back.
But again, not criticising this style. If they're sat in today and they were saying, listen, we're up against it, we got injuries, and they win the game 2-1, then you have to give them praise. They got over the line. Man City a few weeks ago, they got loads of praise, but they were 2-1 up in that. Yeah. But they end up not getting the 3 points. And
what I'm saying is, Roy, I think the probably question is, do you think they can win the league playing like that?
No, but the evidence suggests they can't, because they don't seem to be good enough to. You have to win these type of games, especially when you're in front. Again, there's games again with the Man City. Every game obviously is different, but when you go 2-1 up against Man City and you're down to 10 men, yeah, I get all that. Don't get me wrong, but you still, and this is a compliment to Arsenal. People think you're critical of them, but you're going, because I think you can be better than that. This idea of sitting back in, and we're watching the game live here, and I see players going down. I see them really, when you're 2-1 up at home, you're going, you've got the momentum. You go and get the third goal against Liverpool. We know Liverpool are no mugs, obviously. But it's almost gone, we'll really slow the game down, and you know what, we'll hand the initiative back to Liverpool. And when you've got people like Trent in possession and Salah, trust me, they will punish you.
It felt like second half that Arsenal had a man sent off. That's what it felt like. We said that earlier when we were watching the game. Liverpool was so like, I don't think Liverpool were amazing creating chances, by the way, but to allow another team, you are still Arsenal at home, 2-1 in front, you've been brilliant first half. You know Liverpool are going to come back in the game. That happens in all the games, but to allow them to be so dominant, I'd be frustrated as an Arsenal supporter watching that second half.
Do you feel like Arsenal can drop any more points?
Yeah, listen, there's a long way to go. Of course they can drop a few more points, but 4 points is manageable. Man City.
They lost 5 and drew 5 last season.
Yeah, listen, you put pressure on yourself, you fall behind Man City at any time.
I sense that you think you've got Manchester City here still a bit on a pedestal compared to the rest.
Yeah, at this moment in time, yeah.
So which of these two would you think finish above the other?
Oh.
Based on the evidence of the first 9 games of this season?
I want to say Liverpool. But there's still obviously question marks over Liverpool. I gave Liverpool loads of praise last year, and they ran out of steam with 5-6 games to go. So obviously there's big challenges for Liverpool ahead. But with that maybe control, with that maybe calmness to their group of players, maybe that will help them in the long run in terms of injuries and the way they look after themselves and deal with the extra games might help them. But I've been wrong before. But at this moment in time, I would say I would have Liverpool over Arsenal.
Theo?
Interesting. I mean, like I said at the start of the show, Liverpool have only faced United and obviously Arsenal today.
Chelsea,
I feel.
Leipzig, AC Milan, Arsenal.
Again, it was their first proper test. Chelsea were not classed to being winning the league at the start of the year, considering they finished 6th last year. Maybe they're spoken about this year.
Have Liverpool got to play Man City away for everyone to say that they played someone? Is that what we're waiting for? When is the date of that game?
That's what we're waiting for.
Couple of weeks, 1st of December.
You praised Arsenal while ago for having some tough games by beating Spurs. Do you know what I mean? Are you putting that in the bracket of a tough game?
I am, definitely, particularly away from home. I think Arsenal at this moment in time have played teams away from home particularly and still managed to get a result. And that's the difference, I say, compared to Liverpool at this moment.
But you have to play half your games away from home, don't you? Your league.
And then I believe how it works is you also play them at home.